Hello, my name is Margaret Wallace Brown, and I am the Director of the City of Houston Planning and Development Department. Thank you for this opportunity to review the Livable Places initiative. This initiative touches on chapters 26 and 42 of the City of Houston Code of Ordinances. The Planning Commission voted overwhelmingly to send this package of recommendations to City Council at their meeting on June 8th of 2023. A public hearing was held in front of City Council on June 21st of 2023. This presentation will detail that public hearing information. Thank you. Livable Places recommendations are the result of 3 years of collaboration with a committee comprised of a diverse group of Houstonians. The Livable Places package is all about changing our development codes to provide a wider variety of homes to meet the diverse needs of Houstonians. They focus on equity, walkability, and affordability. These changes include all sorts of incentives to help builders build homes that are more aligned with the existing development patterns in our neighborhoods. The recommendations encourage smaller, more neighborhood-friendly homes. They recommend that these homes support existing development patterns and provide for safer pedestrian spaces. They recommend that new developments support the neighborhoods in which they are built. Most importantly, they incentivize development across all price points, creating homes that meet the needs of Houstonians from all backgrounds. There are 4 major groups of changes. First, it's about making it easier for property owners to build a garage apartment or an accessory dwelling unit. Maybe it's a first home for children as they become young adults, or a safe place for older Houstonians to stay in their neighborhood. Or maybe it's an opportunity to earn more income. Whatever the reason, these rules make it easier for property owners to build a garage apartment or a granny flat, as they're sometimes called. These changes set the maximum size at 1,500 square feet. They waive additional parking requirements for units less than 1,000 square feet, as long as the primary unit provides the minimum parking. For units between 1,001 and 1,500 square feet, an additional space is required. Since secondary dwelling units must conform to all setback and drainage requirements, the size of the lot and the existing home will have a great impact on whether the second unit can even approach this size. The second change we're making is to make it easier for people to build triplexes or fourplexes, up to 8 units of apartments in and around neighborhoods. This type of home was prevalent in Houston for decades, but over the years our rules have changed and it has become nearly impossible to build or repair them. Right now, a fourplex has the same requirements as a 5-story apartment complex with hundreds of units. The recommendations allow triplexes and quads on local streets and those with 5 to 8 units on more commercial streets, those classified as collectors and major thoroughfares. They require 1 parking space for every 1,000 square foot unit and 2 spaces for units over 1,000. 1 guest spot is required for every 6 units. Third, we're creating a new type of development for Houston we're calling Courtyard Development. We've heard a lot of excitement about this style and have a number of developers who are anxious to build this type of development. It allows Houstonians to buy smaller homes on smaller lots, as long as the home is built along a common green space or a courtyard. These will have a maximum height and a maximum size, so they'll fit right inside along neighborhoods. The key to these developments is the common green space. For each lot created, there must be at least 150 square feet of courtyard or green space on the property. The other key aspect is that parking is removed from the unit, and this ensures that the ground floor is living space, not a garage. The last group of changes to the residential development rules is to improve some of the development that many neighborhoods are already experiencing. You know what I'm talking about. When a lot in an existing neighborhood is subdivided, and now there are 3 or 4 homes where 1 used to be. This graphic illustrates all of the options available to property owners on these smaller lots, but if it's too small to read, you can find a larger version on letstalkhouston.org/livable places, or use the QR code at the bottom of the drawing. This graphic illustrates all of the options available, and for each scenario, the graphic illustrates the incentives and the regulations. Incentives include increases in density, buildable area, reduction in driveway widths, setbacks, visibility triangles. These incentivize the use of rear and side driveways, which will leave the front of the lot more accessible and the sidewalk more usable by everyone. They further incentivize smaller units when possible and focus more doors and windows on the front, so homes provide a more neighborly facade. Specifically, these changes require that homes facing the street actually face the street. The Houston Police Department's Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design teaches that, and I quote the training manual, front porches, stoops, and windows facing streets and alleys are critical to safe neighborhoods. The training goes on to encourage pedestrian-friendly walkways and streets, and these rules will accomplish that. These changes also focus on increasing pedestrian safety by reducing the number of times pedestrians and automobiles can collide. This is reducing the number of times Houstonians have to walk their dog or push a baby carriage down a sidewalk that's nothing but driveways, or even worse, blocked by a car. Furthermore, these double-wide driveways are unsafe for pedestrians by making them cross over a double-wide space with no refuge. You've all experienced how fast someone backs out of their driveway. If it's only one car wide, that gives pedestrians a fighting chance. But 2 cars wide, one right after another, pedestrians are always in jeopardy. And they reduce the amount of impervious surfaces in the pedestrian realm. When each 25-foot wide lot creates its own 18-foot driveway, it exacerbates the loss of green space, eliminates places for trees to flourish, and increases the heat island effect. By reducing the impervious surface in the public right-of-way, we can leave more space for trees to thrive instead of just survive. Here's another example. In the instance on the left, I can tell you that it had not rained for several days prior to taking this photograph. Finally, these changes make the public space available to the public, not just one homeowner. For each of the homes on the left photograph, the public has no access to the entire width of the lot. 1 or 2 of these homes on a block is fine, but when there are several, or even a full block, the public really loses. This change is based on the belief that the public space should be reserved for the public. While every home needs access, it's not fair for one homeowner to have complete access to so much public space. Not one other person may use the space. It becomes almost private property. And there is no evidence that by limiting the width of these driveways, more people will park on the streets. They do have garages, after all. And if property owners are worried about crime, the Houston Police Department confirms that there is little difference between break-ins of a car parked on the street and one parked in the driveway. To really reduce the break-ins, garages are much safer than either driveways or streets. Development that creates safe, continuous sidewalks is not impossible. All over Houston, there are examples of homes using rear or side access that provide safe pedestrian realms and excellent street connections. To be clear about what the draft ordinance says, Planning Department originally proposed that there be no front access from lots less than 40 feet unless it is utilized by a shared approach. This is illustrated on the left 4 lots. This is what became known as the Y driveway. As many people heard over the past few months, neither the developers nor the neighborhoods embraced the idea. Hearing loud and clear that the shared access, the Y driveway, was an issue, the Planning Commission voted to reduce the 40-foot limitation to 33 feet and remove the Y access option, illustrated by the 3 lots on the right. A 33-foot wide lot does everything the builders say their customers want. It provides direct access to a garage and easily fits 2 cars in the driveway. It has first-floor living and a backyard. It also does what neighborhoods want by including a front door and living space that connects to the street, making the streetscape safer and supporting Houston Police Department's crime prevention efforts and more inviting. It reduces the number of times a car can back out into a pedestrian, and it reduces the impervious surface in the city's right-of-way. Finally, it makes a stronger human connection, and this is critically important for Houston's neighborhoods. If a property owner or a builder wants to subdivide their properties into 25-foot wide lots, they can still do that, by using a shared driveway, an alley, a rear, flag, or permanent access easement. Or the builder may ask the Planning Commission for a variance. This slide shows the long-term distance between the existing conditions on the bottom and what the recommendations will create on the top. More public access to our public space, improved safety for pedestrians, less impervious surface, and less heat island effect. Just to demonstrate that the previous slide was not an exaggeration, the Planning Commission regularly sees entire streets that are nothing but narrow lots with full wide driveways. Here is an example. This slide illustrates why the Commission feels so strongly about this. These were a series of real applications submitted to the Commission over several months. You'll notice on the bottom of the slide, there is a neighborhood school and a neighborhood park. Children and families walk from the neighborhoods down to the street every day. In each instance, the properties are located adjacent to a side street. The builders could have created a rear driveway and put front doors on the street. But despite the Planning Department and the Commission's best efforts to encourage that, each one of these homes was built with a garage in front on a 16-foot driveway and a small strip of land between each home. In each instance, we heard intense neighborhood opposition, and there was nothing the Commission could do. These proposals met the current Chapter 42 requirements, and the Commission was obligated to approve them. Here's how these are building out. This could have easily been a series of front doors overlooking the park and the neighborhood school. Instead, it's going to be 38 blank garages. The point is, the Commission has no authority to disallow this because it meets Chapter 42. This is what the changes will prevent. If approved by the City Council, this would only be allowed by variance, not by right. All these changes do is encourage rear access or require that front access be reserved to 33-foot wide lots with front doors. If the builder doesn't believe that will work, they can always apply for a variance. These recommendations simply flip the argument. They make the safer development by right, and the less safe one requires a variance. This concludes our presentation on the Livable Places changes to Chapters 26 and 42 of the City's Code of Ordinances. You can always get more information by going to letstalkhouston.org/livableplaces. Thank you.